Welcome to Booked and Branded, the podcast where we dive into the world of entrepreneurship, personal branding, and building a business that feels as good as it looks. I'm Ellie, and each week we'll have inspiring conversations with founders, creatives, and changemakers from around the world, teaching both you and me how to do business and entrepreneurship better. Whether you're a freelancer, creative, or a business owner, this is your space to learn, get inspired, and to take action to build a business and a life that you love. Let's dive into it. Welcome to the Booked and Branded podcast. Today in the studio, we have Aggie. Aggie is a travel influencer that has built a huge social media following spanning luxury travel, wellness, and more. Welcome to the podcast, Aggie.
Hi, Ellie. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into all things travel influencing with you. Okay, amazing. So you've been a full-time travel influencer for over 6 years. Can you take us back to the beginning and how did you first get into this field?
Okay, yeah, actually, maybe I'm thinking right now, maybe it's been actually even more than 6 years. I sort of lost count in a way. But I would say that everything started when 7 years ago, me and my that time partner, we decided to quit our jobs. We're living in London and I was already doing some things on Instagram, but it wasn't like, it wasn't full time. But that was a career I really saw myself in, and I knew that this is something I want to pursue. So I felt that I sort of need to take that leap and quit my job and just put everything on one card and actually really commit to my social media. And we started our first big travel. We left to Asia and we were traveling around Southeast Asia. And yeah, this is pretty much how we started. Like, we never got back. We never went back to our jobs. And since then was just Instagram for me, like, as my full-time career.
Wow. Okay. So that's so brave that you did that. You left your job in London. You were like, I'm getting on this flight.
Yes.
Tell me about the kind of mindset that you need to have, because I think I've spoken about this a little bit in the pod, but specifically for me, I think there was a lot of fear around the unknown that, maybe a more practical 9 to 5 means that you don't have to worry about. So can you tell me about your mindset and how you had the bravery to, make that leap and what was going through your head?
Yeah, for sure it was a little bit risky. And I always knew that the 9 to 5, it's not for me. And even when I was starting my travel blog, I was actually working at a restaurant in London. I was there with mindset, I'm a travel blogger. So whenever I would have like a little chit chat with customers, they were like, oh, do you want to pursue a career in hospitality? I'm like, no, I'm a travel blogger. So I would already identify myself with who I wanted to become, even though that time my Instagram was maybe like, 1,000 or 2,000 followers. So I knew that this is what I want to do. And there was no plan B, right? So I sort of put myself in a really tough situation when I quit the jobs. I mean, we both quit our jobs. We just had a little bit of savings. So we had to figure it out, right? So I had to succeed. There was no other way for me. But because I was pushed against the wall, I knew that, I will figure it out and I will make it happen. So yeah, but I think that actually believing in yourself, it's key. Like, if I would not believe in myself, I would never be where I am today.
Wow.
So,
yeah. I think there's such a big piece of that is putting yourself in a situation where it is sort of like sink or
it's like
swim.
Purposely putting yourself in a tough situation because you know that it's going to help you grow.
And are you based in Bali now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. How long ago did you move to Bali?
Well, I first got here 7 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, my first visit to Bali was a backpacking trip with my friend. We spent 3 weeks traveling around the island, and I fell in love. I knew that this is the place where I want to live. So then the year after, I came back here with my boyfriend, and we were just supposed to stay here a couple of weeks. But I was like, if he's gonna like it, then, maybe we can stay longer. And we were supposed to fly back to the UK in like February. So it's such an old time of the year, like bad weather. But luckily, he loved it. So we never flew back. We just, missed our flights and we stayed here. And since then, Bali has been my, well, first, second base, right now, right now pretty much a first base. And yeah, that's my home.
From 1,000 to 100,000, can you talk about the journey that you took to get there?
Yeah, so of course it was a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
And it was really important to stay consistent in what we were doing, right? At first, you maybe don't see much results. So it's a constant investment, right? So for the first years, we were actually really struggling to monetize Instagram, I would say, especially that, as I said earlier on, we put ourselves in the situation where we didn't really have much savings, we didn't have any other incomes, so we were completely relying on Instagram. But yeah, like fast forward where I am today, like it's my full-time income stream, and yeah, I managed to build the 100,000 followers audience. But yeah, if I would say what was the most important sort of key factor, was definitely to stay consistent in what I'm doing.
And when you say consistent, is that posting every day? Do you post?
No, not necessarily. Like I had a time when I was posting every day. I don't think that's necessary anymore, especially that also Instagram is evolving a lot and it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
So it's I wouldn't get too obsessed about the Instagram algorithm, because a lot of people are like, oh, the algorithm is against me, the algorithm is changing. Like, no, I don't believe that. If you create a good content, your content will always defend yourself.
Yes.
It's not that important, what kind of hashtag you use or who you tag or at what time are you posting. Like, yeah, these things are important, but this isn't what's going to make you a successful creator or not. So consistency in a way that you constantly show up there, and you consistently create new content, and you are there for your audience. Doesn't matter if you have 100 people watching your stories or if you have 10,000 people watching your stories. You do it, right? Even for this 100 at first. So consistency is the key. And yes, I don't mean posting every single day, but being consistent in some way.
What makes good content for you?
I would say there are a few different things and factors. It also depends at what niche we're talking about. Let's say in my case, if I'm in a travel niche, I'm definitely going to pay attention to the quality of content, but also to the creativity and the uniqueness, right? Because you can either be a travel creator who's focusing more on sort of landscape, like cinematographic videos, only high resolution camera photos, but you also have a bunch of other creators who are only using their phone. And I was also one of them. For many years, we were only taking photos with the phone. And you can see the difference, right? The pictures are more like natural. They can still be curated and like posed and everything, but they're more candid, I would say. But what makes, let's say, a successful reel is definitely standing out in a way of being unique and within the first few seconds catching attention of your audience. And the high quality content.
How has the brand evolved?
The brand has actually evolved a lot. As you can see, we started with, right now, mainly called just Pink Lam, but in the beginning was Pink Lemonade. So the idea of the brand was, you hear Pink Lemonade and you think of something summery, something bright, something fun, vibrant. So my feed was fully focused on the summer theme. Tropical summer destinations. And this is what I was doing for the first, let's say, a few years. And this is how I grew. And this is what people knew me for. So the brand was always focused around myself and my person. So it's me in my colorful outfits, playing with fashion in beautiful destinations. Obviously, nowadays, as I grew and I became more mature as well, I kind of really wanted to bring the content together with me and make it a little bit less girly, but more mature and more show myself as a woman, not as a girl anymore. However, still sticking to the theme, right? So we still have me exploring the world and visiting all the most beautiful places.
What types of posts tend to perform best for you?
Okay, this is actually a really interesting question because that's something what sometimes it's not really up to you what performs
Right.
best,
Yeah.
or maybe what you would maybe you would prefer other posts to perform better.
Yeah.
In my case, for sure, all this like funny entertainment kind of reels with multiple transitions, like the funny ones which were trending a couple of years ago. For me, this was my best content. Any reel I would post with like a funny transition from my bed to a travel destination or airport to like beautiful hotel, all this posts would go viral. So I know that for me, even though at times I was like, oh, I really like this, cinematographic content, but that's what my audience wants to see. My audience really like the entertainment, funny reels, transitions, more like the influencer kind of style content. So, yeah, this is what performs best for me until today. No matter what kind of content I'll create, if I post something more in this way, like more funny entertainment, it's always gonna go better.
What are some common mistakes that you think people make when trying to grow their social media following?
Okay, I think the most common mistake is that people focus too early on monetizing, right? So I also do Instagram coaching, and usually people come to me and they don't even have Instagram account yet, or they're just starting. They're like, okay, but when do you think I can start monetizing? I'm like, whoa, 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 like hold on, like build your page first,
Yeah.
like learn how to take photos, learn how to give value to your audience, how to create a good content, and then think of monetizing. So I feel like people are too focusing on monetizing too early before they even build their page. And then maybe they're working on it for a year or so and they're like, oh, I'm not seeing results, I'm just gonna give up. Where it's a long process. Like obviously nowadays I believe it's you can grow Instagram much faster, but still it's a process which is going to take time. So if you're not committed to it, then there isn't really much point of doing it. Or also people are just like, I'm gonna try and see if that works, right? So trying itself, it's not a good word already. Like I'm gonna make it work. Like I'm starting right now, but as I told you earlier, how it was with me, there's no plan B. So it's got to work. And then you have a completely different mindset.
That's so interesting because I think that does come back to like your mindset was so strong at
Yes,
the beginning
yes,
that you were
yes.
ready to make that
Mindset is the
leap.
key,
Yeah,
100%.
100%. What are your tips for anyone in terms of their mindset if they're struggling? I mean, I sometimes struggle with that personally, so I tend to write a lot of affirmations
Oh,
down.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Do you have any tips or tricks for anyone of how you've managed to get your mindset so strong in order to be successful?
I think for sure believing in yourself, it's a big one.
Yeah.
But also knowing why you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like just creating Instagram for the sake of having a nice account, like isn't that meaningful? But if you know your why, then it's always gonna push you forward. For example, for me, my why was I always love to travel, first of all, right? Huge passion for traveling and exploring new places, but also I was always craving freedom. And main thing which Instagram gave me is actually freedom, that I can be wherever I want, anytime I want. I can work from any place in the world. So now that I look back, was it hard the past 7 years, let's say, to get where I am today? Yes, for sure it was. It was a lot of sacrifices, with a lot of hard work, but it was so worth it because today I'm completely free. Like I live my dream life in Bali, right? So it paid off.
You're completely living the dream life in Bali and you have your own villa
Yes,
now.
yes, yes.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yes, finished last year.
That's incredible. And let's do a quick fire Q&A just to
Okay.
wrap up. A couple of fun questions for you. Favorite travel destination?
Bali for sure, obviously. I mean, we live here. However, I think Bali is a great place to live. But when it comes to, let's say, travel/content creation, my top 3 would be Greece. I absolutely love Greek islands and just aesthetics are beautiful. Morocco. I love Morocco. And of course, Maldives. absolutely mind-blowing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Stunning. I really want to go to the Maldives.
you
It's
will
on
love
my
it.
list. Dream brand collaboration.
That's actually a good question. I think I've already worked with a lot of my dream brands.
Amazing.
Which now I'm thinking that, wow, like that's actually, I already, succeeded in a way.
Incredible. Yeah, that
Yeah.
must feel so good when you look back. You're like, actually, I've already worked with my dream brands.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's sick. Okay, amazing. Best investment you've ever made in your career?
I feel like any investment you make in yourself, it's the best investment you make.
Mhm.
So in my case, was anything I invested in my knowledge, in my skills, in my, like we talked earlier on, like mindset, so like personal growth, but also little things like, investing my first camera, like investing in a new phone. Like these are all things which are really important when it comes to building a career as a travel influencer. Isn't necessarily the investment, but I think in my case was actually really smart that I actually did quit my job and went all in. It was sort of a sacrifice, but also an investment in a way, right? Investment in time for sure and freedom.
I think investing in yourself as well, being like, I've got this, I've
100%.
got me,
Yeah.
we'll be fine. Yeah, I love that. Okay, final one. One piece of advice for aspiring travel influencers.
One piece of advice for aspiring travel influencers. I would say just start.
Mm-hmm.
People are always very hesitant to just start, right?
Yeah.
And the time is passing by, and later on they regret they haven't started, they haven't taken that step, they haven't taken that leap. But once you start and you know why you're doing it, as we were talking about earlier on, later on it's so much easier to, stay consistent and grow and grow. And also find a thing or focus on a thing which you're actually passionate about. Like when it comes to podcasts, right? Like you're not going to speak about a topic which you aren't particularly passionate about. You're going to pick a topic which you can talk about for hours.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same with Instagram. Like for me it was travels, and it's until today, whenever I meet any other fellow travelers, we can talk and talk for hours and creating content. So I combine it. And this is the kind of work which most of my posts actually aren't paid, right? Most of the work I'm doing, it's completely for free, but I just do it because I love it. It's my passion. So it doesn't feel like work. So it's kind of easy to, stay consistent and like motivate yourself. Like I'm already motivated because, I love it anyways. So it's not really hard.
Thank you so much, Aggie. Where can people find you if they want to give you a follow?
My Instagram, of course, pink.lam. That's my main channel. So everybody is always welcome to drop me a message. I actually love to stay in touch with my audience. And I always respond to everybody. I've met so many amazing people via Instagram. And here in Bali, we also have an amazing community of creators. So yeah, Instagram is definitely the way to connect and find me.
Aggie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap of Booked and Branded. If you loved it or even kind of just liked it, feel free to DM me at Ellie J. Neal. I love a voice memo, so drop in and say hi. If you're feeling generous, please leave a rating, a review, or even just chuck us a follow. It helps me keep bringing you these conversations. Until next time, stay booked, stay bold, and don't be afraid to make some noise.